WorkHorse built, 2000 horsepower GTR. Alright, so this happened after the run. That's crazy.
What's going on? Gozy here, and welcome back to the channel. It's been a few weeks since my last upload. Kind of took some time to myself to take care of other aspects of life, but in the meantime we did get some stuff done in the garage. All right, for those of y'all who've been watching my Instagram stories, you know that I installed a 2-inch spacer on the Harley High Ram along with an intake air temp sensor. Uninstalled the intake, took off the top lid, and installed the intake air temp sensor there. I would have liked it to be back here, but I didn't know if I had enough space to work with. When you're looking at it from the inside, it looks like it might be, but then from the outside, the map sensor is definitely a lot bulky. So I installed it between cylinders 3 and 5, and I believe it's gonna get a good read in there. Aft, it probably would have seen a little bit of colder air temps due to what I believe is the Met just gets pushed back all the way back to a cylinder 7 and 8. So at least right there, the midpoint, it'll kind of give a more accurate reading. And also installed the pods as well. Here's the old joint here. I was running just a boost and AFR. So I went ahead and I swapped that out so I could have a spot for the intake air temp gauge. I was surprised because it took a lot of digging because AEM doesn't make one. So I ended up going with this generic glow shift. I have heard of glow shift, and I think they also make the Max Toe brand, which is what the sensor ended up coming in as. That's what she looks like right there. For the spacer, it was for more so to give it a better fitment. I kind of had the hoses like in a weird angle, so now it definitely looks a lot better. I'm gonna flip this around later to give you guys a good look. And then for the intake air temp sensor, so prior to getting the brand that I got, which is Max Toe, I was looking real hard. I found a couple options, but none of them really came with like a gauge where I could visually see. And then the other issue was, from what I read, the sensors would get heat soaked and wouldn't really reflect the accurate temp, which is pretty much what ended up happening with our setup. Installed it, took it for a drive, and I tried it without the MET, and the intake air temp sensor in the MAF was reflecting about 150, 155. And then on the gauge, I was seeing 90, so it didn't even move. I did another hit with the MET, and same thing. And then after I'm in the car and then you let it sit, it just heat soaks the sensor and it starts reflecting a higher number, like 120, 130. So I'm probably gonna end up redoing that. When I get the Harley Dominator, I might go with a different option that integrates with that system and should be a little bit more accurate. Hopefully something made out of plastic, because what we got, I believe it's a bronze fitting, and it just soaks up all the heat. All right, been doing some street hits. Ended up racing a ZX-10 along with a 1200 horsepower SHELBY GT500. And everything looks pretty good. Injector duty cycle was out of the roof, which led me to believe that something was definitely wrong, because the paperwork that the injectors came with, FIC 2150cc, said it was good for about 2,000, 2,300 horsepower actually. And I mean, I don't know where I'm at right now, guesstimating anywhere between 13 and 14. And yeah, so maxing it out, 99% duty cycle. So what I did was I rescaled the injectors again. I took it down from a 50% rescale to about a 25. And the only difference I saw was with the MAF curve. Believe it or not, the car is still on the MAF tune. All right, do plan on going speed density, but I'm probably gonna dive into that once I get the Harley. So yeah, scaled the injectors fuel rate table, had to cut the MAF curve pretty much in half again. And then just dialing it from there. Still a bit rich up top, and I've been making street hits here and there, try to clean up that fueling up top. The last test hit actually ended up getting put over. So this happened, right?
I was doing some street hits and flew by a cop at idle. I think he said I was doing about 95. And I was like, yeah, I was pretty much in neutral at that point, coasting. And he was just like, but let me get out of here though. Sheesh.
Not gonna talk about that, but he let us go, no tickets. All right, lessons learned over here. Fast forward, literally as I touched down to this current location, I got added to the Fast Guys group chat, and I got called out immediately by 2,000 horsepower GTR, and his stipulation was he puts 5 cars on me or he gives me $1,000. So, like I said, still down the car end, so I'm gonna be using that run to get some data. I've been wanting to rev the car up to about 7,500 RPM now with the aftermarket heads, because the F1X does need to be spun a lot to get the maximum horsepower out of it. So that's the goal, get some data, because really with the street hits, I've been taking it easy because it's just too sketchy over here, you know. So hopefully on the run, get some good data. I'm sure it's gonna be a lot rich, but should be safe. And then we'll just keep taking fueling out of it until I get to that 11.5. 11.7 target AFR. This is what the setup looks like with the 2-inch spacer. Definitely gives it a much cleaner fitment as far as the angle, sloping down towards the intercooler. And for the intake air temp, I wanted it to be somewhat accurate, so I mounted it between cylinders 3 and 5. I'm gonna end up redoing it anyway. Probably go to a different location once I get the car on a Harley Dominator. And then as far as the scaling on the tune, I don't know, I'm kind of getting to that point where I am getting comfortable with the idea of just having someone else look at the tune, because I don't think I scaled it wrong. Like I said, 2150cc injectors, all right? Come under fuel injector control. You see here, flow rate, pretty much have that scaled. This would probably be the equivalent of like a 25% scaling. This is an E38 out of 07, so we're hard limited to 63 pounds per hour, right? And right now with the 2150cc, I believe it's about 210 pounds per hour injectors. But yeah, it definitely beats me. I've looked through everything, you know, like I said, doubled the storage, made sure that my offset tables were accurate. And matches what was supplied by Fuel Injector Clinic. So I don't know. I mean, I've done what I could, honestly. So for me, it's just I don't want to keep masking the problem. Don't want to spend money on bigger injectors, because then it just makes it harder to idle if I don't need it. And then another thing that I also been looking at was my fuel pressure. So I want to go ahead and mount a GoPro around this area just to see what the fuel pressure is doing at wide open throttle. I do have it pretty much maxed out where it'll allow for the maximum fuel pressure as supplied by the fuel pump. And right now at idle, it sits right around 60 PSI. And it is boost reference. You can see the vacuum line right here. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's just a fuel supply issue, because you can get the same issue as well with the duty cycles. If you don't have enough fuel supply, the injectors could try to compensate for that by opening up even more, and then you get that higher reading. So probably gonna end up mounting the GoPro maybe like in the surface right here, and then point it to that gauge and see what's doing. Or I could probably run a line in the cabin, but I think that'd be too much work. So I think mounting the GoPro will probably be a best bet. All right, the weather is starting to clear up, so it should be a good turnout. Hopefully GTR comes out today. And then as far as the truck, so I did end up doing the valve seals on the truck, and still no bueno. It's still smoking, but that's crazy because when I did the leak down test, it passed with flying colors. So at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and just do the piston rings as well on this truck. It just sucks that right now I'm still out of a tow vehicle. A lot of good track events coming up that I don't know how I'm gonna be able to make it. And honestly, I was looking at it and it almost has enough clearance at the bottom that I might be able to actually drop the oil pan, right, take off the heads and undo the rods from the bottom and then pop the piston out of the top. So if I can get away with swapping out the piston rings with the block still on the car, I'm gonna go ahead and do that, because this is just, it's just really, I say junky, just a lot of wiring. And I was looking at it and because the truck sits so high, I would have to drop this whole entire front frame, and I don't know if I want to do that. So I'm gonna try to get away with doing it on the car, doing it on the truck, and then see what happens. Previous owner said it was a Summit Racing 4.2 stroker, so I called Summit Racing trying to get some specs on a piston size. That way I could go ahead and order the rings ahead of time, but they didn't have any data for me on that, so I'm gonna have to manually take them out and manually measure them as well in order to get that ring size. I would have loved to do this all in one weekend, but it might turn into a 2-week project, just waiting on the parts to come in. And it's pretty much what we got going on here today. I did end up softening up the front suspension, got it about 5 clicks, compression and rebound. Left the rears where the rear, which is 10 clicks, compression and rebound. And with the front end being softer than the rear, that should help with raising that front end up on the watt, letting the car squat a bit better, and traction should improve as well. All right, I'm gonna roll in the clips from the ZX-10, and if the GTR does come out, that'll be in this video as well. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Thank you for the support, and I'll be seeing y'all on the next upload.
WorkHorse built, 2,000 horsepower GTR. I'm not sure what our map is going to be on tonight. Oh yeah. Okay.
Street because they're missing.
It's not carbon fiber. Yeah. All right. So this happened after the run. That's crazy.
When my car shifted in the 6th is when that front piece fell off, and I thought my transmission broke, and that's when I didn't know that. Like when I got out of the car, they were like, "You lost your whole lip."
I got you.
Oh.
Yeah. So right here is where it stops accelerating, right around 173, because after that it just stays there.
Yeah.
You know, then the whole backfire shit. So 173. Wish I could zoom in. Yeah. So that's, what would you call that? About a car and a half?
Bro, I couldn't tell you. I ain't good at distances like that.
All good. All good. What was power setting?
It was map 5, so they really didn't tell me what fucking power I'm at in map 5.
They did.
But I imagine it's probably like 1,500. Because the car makes 2,000 in map 9.
Yeah.
I've never, like I said, I haven't taken it out of map 5 since, I mean, I've worked up to map 5, but I haven't gone any higher.
Yeah. But it is a Motec car.
Yeah.
Corbin Johnson tune?
Yep, Corbin
That's
Johnson
as well?
tune. No, he's not. They remote tune. Full workhorse car, workhorse build. Antonio is a monster. He makes some street killers.
What's the budget for something like that? 2,000 horsepower. On map 9.
It breaks the bank a little bit. But, I mean,
Yeah.
it's definitely worth it if you want a fast street car. Or, I mean, full AC, 2,000 horsepower.
Full interior.
Everything. Yep, full interior.
Well, at least we're able to come out here, play, and not blow any coolant lines off. Well, I mean,
Nope.
we did lose the lip, the front
Yeah, we
lip,
did
but
lose the lip.
that small shit though, you know. He could have ran it again if he wanted to, but I would see that kind of hurts the car a little bit, you know. I wouldn't want to run my car if I lost my front lip. Fuck that.
Dude, you got a beautiful car, man.
Yeah. I mean, self-built, self-tuned.
Dude, that's awesome, man.
You know, and obviously, only thing that I had against you tonight was the weight. You know, I did have 2 sandbags in the trunk. I thought about taking it off. Thought about taking that off and the wicker bill. So I was like,
I'll leave it in there.
Yeah. Traction is good right now, so why fuck with it?
I had a 250-pound passenger.
Yeah,
exactly.
Exactly.
We're good. I appreciate the opportunity,
well,
man. Thank you.
At least he didn't put 5 cars on me. Like he called me out. He did call me out and say he's gonna put 5 cars on me.
No, I said if I didn't beat you by a car, I'd give you $1,000.
No, he said 5 cars. I might have a screenshot. He
He
talks so much shit he forgets it. That's what it sounds like. So all right. Yeah. Thanks for coming out.
Yes, sir.
It didn't rain, so
Thank you so much. Yeah.
What color are you gonna paint it?